Back at it, full of vim and vinegar. This page left intentionally blank. And this is Wake Up Wenatchee Valley for the 16th day of July 2024. I'm Dan Kuntz. 3 weeks from primary election day. You'll be getting your ballots in the mail probably by the end of this week. Thad Duvall, the Douglas County Auditor, and Skip Moore, the Chelan County Auditor, will be my guests in the back half of the program. That time to make your selections for primary election day. So do not miss that conversation with Skip and Thad. Very informative. And I love our county auditors because they're good. They're really good. Heat advisory, fire weather watch, air quality advisory, hot, hazy, July. We've gone 13 straight days with our high temperature above normal, and I mean way above normal. We had 98 yesterday. Our normal high is 88. We're going to be close to 100 today. Could see a dry thunderstorm Wednesday. Hope not. 107 on Sunday. Good God, this stuff is not ending. Your very warm weather forecast is coming up, and if you are a wildfire fighter, this is the nervous time of the year. Anyway, we'll have all of the information for you. Plus news, not a lot of sports. Of course, the Mariners are on their All-Star break, and the Apple Sox are on their All-Star break. But we'll talk about the All-Star game tonight in Arlington, Texas, the 94th edition of the Midsummer Classic. But there's really, I'm being honest with you, there's not a lot of sports to talk about. That's just what it is. Plus, Mike McNaughty has an opinion. And did I mention it's going to be hot? We'll get to all of that. Let's get going. Our festivities begin with our cameras around the valley, courtesy of Localtel's Sky-Fi division. The Wenatchee Heights camera says, good morning. Couple of high clouds out there. And again, look way off in the distance. Up the Columbia River toward Chelan, there is your smoke. And there is your haze from the Pioneer Fire, which is still burning about 30 miles north of Chelan proper, creeping closer to the Stehekin. The Stehekin area is now under a level 1 evacuation alert, but they're very much aware of what's going on up there. And Stehekin is open. You're good to go if you want to go up to Stehekin. You're fine. They're going to do everything they possibly can to keep the fire from encroaching in that neck of the woods. To Leavenworth we go, where the sky doesn't look nearly as bad. Good morning to Leavenworth from our Tumwater Canyon camera looking back towards the Wenatchee Valley. Good morning to the upper valley of Leavenworth, and a little look at the hills above the Kashmir, Peshastin, Dryden area from our Tumwater Canyon camera, which isn't actually in the Tumwater Canyon. If it was, there wouldn't really be a lot to see. But when we head up to the Bear Mountain camera, Lake Chelan, there you see the haze and there you see the smoke. Right now in Chelan, and this is in downtown Chelan, the air quality sensor monitoring station, whatever it's called, they have Chelan at 107 on the AQI scale. That is unhealthy for sensitive groups, so it's worse now than it was 24 hours ago at this time. They were in the 80s. In Twist, by the way, it's at 80, which is moderate. The smoke from the Pioneer Fire is going over the ridge that separates the Chelan Valley from the Methow Valley and is seeping into the Twist, Methow, Mazama area. Let's head up to Billy Goat and give you another idea of how much they're dealing with the smoke and the haze. Brewster's at 63. That ain't real good either. You can just see the haze just hanging on there. And this is the time of the day where the relative humidity is at its highest because the temperatures are at its coolest. But it doesn't really help much because even as the air thins and it gives a chance for the smoke to rise, the fires get more intense. So it's kind of 6 of one, half dozen of the other. You can't really get away from it. Good morning to our friends in Pateros, Brewster, and Bridgeport. We have 3 visual elements to send your way. First of all, here we go again. Look at this weekend. Chelan, 103, then 108. You got to be kidding me. Moses Lake this weekend, 102, 106. Omak, 101, 107. What's going on? The big ridge of the big upper level ridge, which is just sitting right over basically northwestern Montana. That's where the center of the ridge is. It's a high pressure ridge. It's spinning clockwise. It's grabbing all that hot, dry air from the southwest and sucking it right back up here into the north central Washington and the area there. And that sucker is just going to sit there. It's going to sit right about the Montana-Idaho border, and that's why we're going to be very, very hot for the foreseeable future. Everybody is going to be attracted to the cool, clean water of whatever body of water you can get a hold of, a lake, a river, a stream, or a backyard swimming pool. And yeah, when you see that, yeah, here's your heat advisory. Take a look at your map. Looks like one of those ink blot tests that the psychologist makes you take. But everybody, basically entire eastern Washington is under a heat advisory. It starts today, goes through Thursday, may extend to Friday. We're going to catch a little break on Friday. We're only going to be 101 on Friday. The real heat, as you already saw, comes Saturday and Sunday. But is there really a difference between, say, 100 and 105? Pretty much the same to me. And then finally, the fire weather watch. And this is the one thing we really don't like, because it is bone dry out there. We are in desperate need of precipitation. And unfortunately, even though we could see a dry thunderstorm tomorrow afternoon, it's a dry thunderstorm. No rain associated with it. That's the worst case scenario. So everybody in yellow, you're under a fire weather watch, which is pretty much everybody watching this program on this Tuesday morning. From the National Weather Service, hazy and hot. About 103. For the record, we hit 98 yesterday. Again, 13 straight days with high temp above normal. Our high temp is 88, so we're going to go well over 20 consecutive days with our high temperature above normal. Only 73 for the overnight low. Very, very mild. Wednesday is the day we're keeping a close eye on things because they're not real confident it could happen, but there is a chance of a dry thunderstorm late in the afternoon during the hottest part of the day on Wednesday. And again, a high of 103. 71 for the overnight low on Wednesday night. Thursday, 104. Friday, a little bit of a break, 101. And then the ridge reestablishes itself, sucks up more hot, dry air from the southwest desert, Las Vegas, what have you, where it's been unbelievably hot down there. 105 Saturday, 107 on Sunday. I will do my research and find out how close we will be to record high temperatures throughout the forecast period. Didn't have time to do that this morning. It was a busy Tuesday. It was also a busy day around the bullpen, and we'll have the news when we come back. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel. The family at the Eplodolin want to help your loved one feel at ease in their new home environment. Eplodolin offers beautiful one-bedroom and studio apartments. Residents enjoy 3 delicious home-style meals a day, laundry service, housekeeping service, and encouragement to make themselves cozy in their new home. Eplodolin welcomes your family to come and visit their family. Eplodolin, independent and assisted living. They make the complicated easy for you. Call today for a tour.
As sheriff, I arrested rioters, rapists, and mass murderers, locked up human traffickers who preyed on women and children. On my watch, everyone was accountable. Despite being the Attorney General for 12 years, Bob Ferguson does not take responsibility for the rapid increase in crime and homelessness, businesses moving out of state, and jobs lost. And he thinks he deserves a promotion?
Dave Reichert.
If you are looking for dependable car service and repair, visit the good guys at Quick Lube and Tune. They've been keeping cars and trucks in the Wenatchee Valley running smooth for 35 years. Quick Lube and Tune is your hometown shop for a 10-minute oil change, complete tune-ups, alignments, brakes, mufflers, air conditioning service, and more. Get more life out of your vehicle by bringing it to the local guys you can trust at Quick Lube and Tune on South Wenatchee Avenue.
Hey, hon, would you run this around to the wash rack?
Oh, okay.
Hey, hon, what happened?
They shrunk the truck.
The all-new mid-size Canyon is now available at Sangster Motors.
It's sunny, it's hot, it's hazy. It's not hot, it's 72. Will be. We have a heat advisory. We have a fire weather watch. The air quality to the north of us ain't real good. It is July in north central Washington. It's also 10 minutes after the hour. The Washington State Patrol is investigating a hit and run accident in rural Okanagan County that left a pedestrian pretty seriously injured. 59-year-old Arthur M. Binford of Spokane Valley. He was walking on the shoulder of Highway 17 near Bridgeport very early Sunday morning when an unknown vehicle struck him and then didn't stop. The accident was reported about 3:45 in the morning on Sunday. Binford found on the roadside, serious injuries, taken to Confluence Health Hospital for treatment. Troopers say it happened near milepost 138. That's about 3 miles north of Bridgeport. Again, on Highway 17, if you have any information that may help identify the vehicle that the Washington State Patrol is looking for, give the State Patrol a call. They want to hear from you. Well, that pipe break at one of the Wenatchee Valley's major irrigation systems that left a lot of East Wenatchee customers without their irrigation water during the driest part of the year. Good news, they got it fixed. The Upper Columbia Irrigation District says that the water was restored to most of its customers by about 11 o'clock last night. The broken pipe caused moderate damage to equipment at one of the district's pumping stations. They pump out of the Columbia River near Rock Island, and that had to be dried out and inspected before repairs could take place. A second line break farther north in the irrigation system also stopped water to Brace Landing in the Orondo area. That was Sunday, but that failure was fixed the same day. Speaking of Douglas County, they're hosting a free disposal day if you're a resident of Douglas County, but you don't live inside of a city. On August 24th, the county is going to partner with Waste Management to offer 2 time slots for free disposal at the Greater Wenatchee Regional Landfill. It'll start at 7 and then at 11 a.m. Again, this is on August 24th. Tickets are free to reserve a spot. They're available on the county's website, Douglas County's website. But here's the deal. Only 450 tickets are available, and all residents have to show that they live in unincorporated Douglas County. Residents are encouraged to bring items that cannot be collected when Waste Management comes to your house, like furniture and yard waste and household waste and other non-hazardous materials. The Wenatchee Valley Fire Department officially put its newest ladder truck into service on Saturday. It's a push-in ceremony. It's a tradition. They held it right there at Station 4 in East Wenatchee. Ladder 4 joins the fleet, keeping the valley safe from structure fires. Before officially getting to work, the new truck had to undergo a wipe down from firefighters. Some special guests were invited as well. Then it got a hands-on assist into its parking bay. It's a tradition. Fire Chief Brian Brett says the custom dates back to the early days of firefighting, when firefighting equipment was towed by horses.
This tradition dates back to the late 1800s, when fire departments used hand-drawn pumpers and horse-drawn equipment. Upon returning to the station after the call, the horses couldn't back the fire apparatus into the station. So it was disconnected from the fire equipment, and the firefighters would push the apparatus back into the station, hence the push-in ceremony. In this modern era, obviously the horses are missing, but another key person or animal is missing, and that would be the Dalmatian. The Dalmatians and firefighters have a long history together, and the Dalmatians loved running with the horses. So firefighters discovered this, actually the stablemen and women discovered this, that the attraction Dalmatians and horses had together. So firefighters onboarded Dalmatians, and when they would go on calls, the Dalmatians would lead the horse-drawn fire apparatus and clear the traffic and protect alongside for the firefighters to respond to the scene. And even more importantly, during the downtime, the Dalmatians guarded the horses from horse thieves and protected the fire equipment.
Mary Big Bull Lewis has been appointed to the state's Arts Commission by Governor Jay Inslee. Mary Big Bull Lewis is the founder of the Indigenous Root and Reparation Foundation and the now retired Wenatchee Wear brand. The Arts Commission promotes the growth and development of arts in our state and advises state officials on matters involving the arts. Inslee's office says the goal of boards and commissions are to give residents a voice in government and influence decisions. Big Bull Lewis's term begins later this month and will end in the year 2027. Congratulations to her. U.S. Representative Dan Newhouse is traveling around central Washington on an agricultural tour this week. On Friday, Newhouse will head to Quincy and tour both Beef Northwest's feedlot and the Weber Farms organization. Beef Northwest's feedlot is a feeding and backgrounding operation. Weber Farms specializes in potatoes, sweet corn, cherry, and apple production. During his visits, Newhouse will be briefed on operations and challenges the industry is facing. Newhouse begins his tour today in Prosser to learn about agricultural cybersecurity threats with the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, and then Artificial Intelligence and Agricultural Research with Washington State University. Yesterday, we gave you part one of our visit with Palisades rancher Molly Linville. Today, it's part two. Molly and her husband operate 6,000 acres of cattle land in Moses Coulee, and one of the first tests of Molly's stewardship was a Sutherland Canyon fire. You might remember that back in 2017. It burned 37,000 acres of sagebrush country. Most of her operation lies outside any fire protection district. Molly says today, what started out as the worst thing that ever happened to her, eventually became the foundation to build a new fire-ready approach for her ranch and ranches like it.
It actually started right up on that bluff. I was sitting eating lunch in the house at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and this weird little squall came through. I saw the dry lightning, and it wasn't but seconds later, and there was smoke and then a line of flames coming over the hill. The fire cruised south, mostly south, and then it got in that little canyon back there, and that's DNR ground. And so I thought, oh, okay, good, DNR is gonna get after that. And my cattle were all on the other side of the road. And so I wasn't worried. DNR is great at putting fire out. But they just didn't this time. And in the evening, I came down to check on it, and the winds just like picked up, you know how they do here, just so fast. They just picked up and the fire took off. And I was like, oh, I'm in trouble. And I went back to the house and got my border collie and my ATV and bombed down there on the old railroad bed and started getting my cattle up. And the fire just like leapt over the road and it just whooshed up behind us. And I was in my mind saying, I will grab my dog and drive away from these cattle if I have to. Like I was trying to prepare myself to not be stupid because it was very scary. But my dog, he was like, I know exactly what needs to be done here. And he got after those cows and he picked them up into a good fast trot, ran them the 2 miles back to the house. And it was hot and loud behind us. And it was the scariest thing that I've ever done. And I don't ever want to do that again. And I don't ever want anybody else to have to do that again. It caused a lot of bad feelings because you know, we had firefighters show up, but not engage with the fire because they weren't in anybody's district. And it wasn't really understood, like, who should do what when you're in unprotected lands, or no man's land, as some people call it. Because it was literally like, who's paying for this? We don't see anybody raising their hand that they're going to pay for this. I kept asking, like, why? You know, why? What's the reason? And they said, well, there isn't anything out here. And I was just like, holy smokes. They see this as nothingness, right? Like they're like, it's okay to let it burn because there's nothing out here. So on our fire, we feel like we lost about $283,000 worth of infrastructure. There aren't enough people that live out in Palisades to pay for the level of service that would be expected if they annexed us in, right? Like the taxation isn't going to be enough to pay for doing fire suppression out here. We had the BLM come and talk to us about rangeland fire protection associations, which means that we would form, it's a 501c3 nonprofit. You get insurance, you have usually a board of directors of some kind, and you run it as a nonprofit. And then you can get surplus firefighting equipment once you're certified. And they use them in Oregon, and Idaho, and Wyoming, and all the time with great success on these places like this. And but they're not legal in the state of Washington. I did, I think, 5 rounds of legislation with Representative Tom Dent to get them legalized so that we could do that. We've never got there, but the piece of legislation that also Representative Dent got across the finish line was that local fire chiefs can call in air support on initial attack. And that's really important because before they couldn't until the fire had gone state mobilization. That has just been such a game changer. Last summer, some people were shooting on our ranch and they caught it on fire. They put it out with 3 helicopter dumps. And so I think that is the piece that has been a game changer.
By the way, if you want to see the complete profile that Jefferson Robbins and our producer Tucker Wagner did, it's available on our website. It's about 40 minutes long. It's well worth your time. You should check it out. And we'll have part 3, by the way, on tomorrow's edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. And that is the news at 20 minutes after the hour. Don't forget the news tonight with Grant Olson in the anchor chair, which could very well be the very chair I'm sitting in. We share the furniture around here. Grant in the anchor chair, Eric handling sports at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock tonight on television. 5, 6, and 10. If that's not how you consume television, if you use your computer or your smart TV, a lot of people have smart TVs. My TV is dumb, but who cares? You can do it. You can watch it on the World Wide Web. Our news will be up and running right around 5 o'clock on ncwlife.com, on our Facebook page, our YouTube page. We have an X page. We have an Instagram page. We got an app, and it's right there. Download the app. Pick up your phone and download the QR code, and it's down the road you go. And if there's something out there that you think is newsworthy, you get a hold of us. We'd love to hear from you. Send us an email, news@ncwlife.com. Looking for a lot of sports on this Tuesday? You ain't going to find it when we come back. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
My name is Anna Marie. I've lived at Prestige here for 6.5 years, and I love it. They just made you feel so welcome. I love my room. I get 3 meals a day, do as I darn well want to. I've loved it ever since I moved in.
Mom's a wonderful, wonderful lady. She deserved the very best, and I got it for her here at Prestige.
Since 1932, Camp Seneca, nestled on the beautiful shores of Lake Wenatchee, has provided children grades 1 through 12 with the ideal location for kids to learn new skills, have fun, and make friends while creating memories that will last a lifetime. Camp Seneca's rustic log cabins and their staff serve to provide each group a unique summer camp experience. Register for Camp Seneca today, www.campfirencw.org.
Caught in a conflict? Family? Workplace? Neighbor? Business? Housing disputes? Wenatchee Valley Dispute Resolution Center provides mediation services, a cost-effective and efficient way to provide a written resolution to disputes and issues. Plus, we offer mediation training and community education on conflict resolution and communication skills. Contact us to learn more.
My name's Nick Dirk, and I've been a cinematographer-photographer for over 10 years. I got my start at the Wenatchee Valley Technical Skills Center. Without the Tech Center, I wouldn't have got my first job in media production 3 months after I graduated high school.
My name is Charlie Voris, and I own Vortex Productions. My work has taken me on exciting adventures all around the world, and I got my start at Wenatchee Valley Tech.
Hey, my name is Ole Mingo, and I'm the Executive Director at Heirloom Creatives in Wenatchee. I am so thankful for Wenatchee Valley Tech to be able to have my dream career.
24 minutes after the hour, 37 players, 37, I don't know if that's a record or not, I didn't have a chance to look it up. Our first-time All-Stars tonight. It's the 94th Midsummer Classic. It's going to be at Globe Life Field in Arlington, the home of the Texas Rangers. Paul Skeens of the Pirates will start for the National League. Skeens has made all of 11 starts in his career. That's right, he's a rookie. That's the fewest career appearances ever for an All-Star game. Starter, the 2021 Cy Young Award winner Corbin Burns of the Orioles will get the nod for the American League. The first pitch is on Fox, and it's set for shortly after 5 o'clock tonight. Of course, the Wenatchee Apple Sox are on the All-Star break. They didn't play. In fact, they don't play again until Friday when Yakima Valley comes to town. We have 5 Apple Sox players who will play in the West Coast League All-Star game in Bellingham tomorrow night. We'll have highlights of that on Thursday. But there were 2 games on the West Coast League scoreboard from Les Schwab. Port Angeles 10-run at Nanaimo, 11-1, and Corvallis snuck by Springfield 6-2. And believe it or not, that's sports. I mean, You can't report and show highlights on games that didn't happen. There are 6 obscure holidays you can celebrate today. It is President's Day in Botswana. Have fun with that one. It's World Snake Day. Snakes are one of those, you either love them or you hate them. Nobody's ambivalent about snakes. I decided not to do that. It's Fresh Spinach Day. It's Guinea Pig Appreciation Day. It's National Personal Chef Day. Wish I had one of those. But no, because it's so important to us here in North Central Washington, it's National Cherry Day. Now, remember last week we did National Bing Cherry Day. This is for cherries of all different shapes and varieties. And of course, cherries are exceptionally good for you. 1 cup of cherries provides 3 grams of fiber, 18% of a person's recommended daily allowance of vitamin C, 10% of your daily potassium that you need, and all of that for 1 cup of cherries is just 97 calories. So cherries are good for you. Where did cherries originate? What they think of is somewhere in Asia, in the area of the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea was where the wild cherry trees were first grown and then transported to Europe by birds. Birds would eat the cherries off the wild cherry trees in Asia, then they flew to Europe, and then they pooped. And boom, cherry trees were going everywhere. Then the Greeks and the Romans began to cultivate cherries, and they began to hybrid out cherries and figure out how that all works. 1 cherry tree can produce enough cherries to make 28 pies. Now, who doesn't like cherry pie? Traverse City, Michigan calls itself the cherry capital of the world, and they can have that. But the top 3 sweet cherry growing states, not tart cherries, most of them are grown in Michigan. But sweet cherries, the kind that we love, Oregon cranks out 38,000 tons of sweet cherries every year. Number 2 is California. They produce 107,000 tons of sweet cherries every year. And number 1, us, Washington State. We crank out, on average, 208,000 sweet cherries every year. So the Valley, Wenatchee may be the apple capital of the world, but it might be cherries that make the world go around. And I love cherries, but they don't love me. That's another holiday. It's 28 minutes after the hour. Today in history, time to guess that flag. And this is going to be a tough one. You're going to go, what the hell is the flag of that? We always do states, but we would be remiss if we didn't include the District of Columbia, which is established as the capital of the United States on this date, July 16th, 1790. Most people refer to it as Washington, D.C. It is officially the District of Columbia. Fun facts about D.C. The Capitol building was not designed by an American. Bill Thornton designed the Capitol. He was a British doctor. The White House was not designed by an American. Jim Hoban designed the White House. He was Irish. The Smithsonian was funded by James Smithson, an Englishman who never set foot in the United States. As you probably know, residents of the District of Columbia could not vote in presidential elections until the 23rd Amendment was ratified in 1961. Residents of the District of Columbia, and there's about 800,000 of them, still have no congressional representation. They have 1 delegate at large who can basically do anything in the House of Representatives except vote. That's like having a chef who can do everything but cook. They do not have congressional representation. They should have it. D.C. residents drink more wine per capita than any of the 50 states. They like their vino in the District of Columbia. Woodrow Wilson is the only president actually buried in the District of Columbia. He's buried in the Washington Cathedral. And there's an empty crypt beneath the Capitol building. George Washington was supposed to be buried there, but when he died in 1799, Martha said, no, we're going to bury him here. It's still empty. I don't know if you can check it out or not. Happy 234th birthday to the District of Columbia. 83 years ago today at League Park in Cleveland, the Yankee Clipper, Joe DiMaggio, goes 3 for 4. You can make it 56 consecutive games for Joltin' Joe DiMaggio, a remarkable record. It still stands 83 years later. We will talk about this more on tomorrow's edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. If you saw the movie Oppenheimer last summer, you know about this. Code name Trinity, also known as the Gadget. 79 years ago today, July the 16th, 1945, in the New Mexico desert in the middle of nowhere, they did it. The very first test of a nuclear device. The atomic age is upon us. It worked. It's one of these things that when you try it for the first time, you don't know if it works until you try it for the first time. Harry Truman was in Potsdam, Germany, at the conference alongside Churchill and Stalin. He got a secret message about a day and a half later. It works. What do you want to do now, Harry? And we all know what Harry decided to do in early August of 1945. The first test of a nuclear device, and the world will never be the same, 79 years ago today. Hijacking was real big in the 60s and the 70s. The first time anybody actually tried to hijack something was on this date, July 16th, 1948, the first hijacking of a commercial plane. 4 men on board the Miss Macau passenger seaplane stormed the cockpit and take over the airplane. This was 1948. They were flying in the South China Sea. The idea is if you could afford to fly in an airplane in 1948, you probably had a lot of money. The idea was they were going to take over the plane and then rob the wealthy passengers of their money and their jewelry. It didn't work. The plane crashed into the South China Sea. The only survivor, Wang Yu, was the ringleader of the 4 hijackers. He jumped out of the plane just before it hit the water. He survived. The courts ruled that Yu should be tried in Hong Kong. The Hong Kong government ruled that Yu should be tried in China. No country claimed jurisdiction over the hijacking, so Wang Yu was released. The first hijacking 76 years ago, and not surprisingly, it didn't work. And speaking of airplanes, 25 years ago today, John F. Kennedy Jr., his wife Carolyn, and Carolyn's sister Lauren Bissett dies when the Piper Saratoga PA 32R aircraft he was flying crashes into the Atlantic Ocean off the coast of Martha's Vineyard. The curse of the Kennedys continued on this date 25 years ago today. Birthdays. He has the 3rd highest career batting average of all time. He set a World Series record in 1919 with 12 hits. He was banished for life for allegedly taking part in the fixing of the 1919 World Series. Shoeless Joe Jackson, who may have been ignorant and not very bright and not so much of a fixer. I mean, he was accused of fixing the 1919 World Series, and he played pretty good in games that Chicago won. When the White Sox lost, he didn't play very good. He has the 3rd highest career batting average, but of course he is banned from the Hall of Fame and he was banned from baseball for life. He was born in the state in 1887, died at the age of 64 in 1951. The man who invented popcorn as we know it, Orville Redenbacher. Born in the state in 1907, he worked his butt off. He kept crossbreeding different kinds of corn to find the perfect kernel of corn to pop. He discovered it at one point. Orville Redenbacher's popcorn had half the popcorn market in this country. He sold his company, who then sold his company, and now it's owned by some massive agribusiness giant. Orville Redenbacher, born in the state in 1907. Jimmy Johnson is 81 years old. He was the first of only 3 football coaches to lead a team to the National Collegiate Championship and a Super Bowl victory. He did it in 1987 with the Miami Hurricanes, and then again with the Dallas Cowboys twice. Barry Switzer did it with the Oklahoma Sooners and the Dallas Cowboys, and of course Pete Carroll with USC and the Seattle Seahawks. Jimmy Johnson, coaching legend, is 81. And happy 57th to Will Ferrell. Of course, Saturday Night Live as Ron Burgundy in the Anchorman series, which he wrote. Talladega Nights, which he wrote. Step Brothers, which he wrote. He's been working not too hard lately. Will Ferrell is 57 years old today. Be funny again, Will. I miss it when you were really funny. There, I got that out of my mind. All right, special thanks to our premium sponsor, Alpine Air. For heat and air, call Alpine Air. If your air conditioner breaks down, and it just might, or say only half of it breaks down, give Alpine Air a call. They'll come out and take a look-see, and it's just they're the pros. That's all there is to it. For heat and air, call Alpine Air. They're the ones you want to call. And special thanks to our sponsors, Prestige Senior Living at Colonial Vista, their main campus in Wenatchee, and their satellite campus in East Wenatchee. Mike Magnotti has got an opinion. And then it's election time. 3 weeks from today is the primary election. By the end of this week, if you're a registered voter, you should be getting your ballot in the mail. Thad Duvall, the auditor of Douglas County, and Skip Moore, Chelan County auditor, will join me when we come back. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
Check out ClubCrowCashmere.com for upcoming events and tickets.
A ductless unit from Carrier can keep anyone comfortable. Take Shelly, for instance. She finds me time in her new attic-turned-home gym. And with her Carrier ductless unit, the temperature is always perfect. No matter how intense her workout gets. Carrier. Total comfort, totally happy.
Turn to the experts, Carrier and Alpine Air. Heat and air, call Alpine Air.
Are you dealing with a pest or weed issue and you just don't know what to do?
We use the best pest control methods approved for areas with kids and pets.
Whether it's rats, mice, ants, or spiders,
or something else altogether,
we provide the coaching and solutions you're looking for.
And you can know that your dollars are supporting a local, family-owned and operated business.
Allow us to help you get back to living healthy and pest-free. Harvest Valley Pest Control.
Most of us are in touch with the internet in one way or another all day long. A fast, secure connection matters. It keeps us entertained, informed, and in touch. Localtel cares about your connection. We know strong, reliable internet with your choice of speed makes life better. If you need fast, reliable internet, or maybe an upgrade, or you just have questions, connect with us by visiting localtel.com or call 509-888-8888 today.
Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. Now, there's a disturbing trend I'm seeing among some of my Christian brethren. The 9th commandment, you shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. It's basically saying don't lie about someone. However, somewhat recently, local folks identifying as Christians told some malicious lies about a competent school board member, justifying doing so in an attempt to get their own candidate on the board. And this trend isn't just local. It seems that in politics, some people of faith feel that the end justifies the means, which is not a concept supported by Christianity, by the way. And that in politics, violating the 9th commandment in order to win is okay. Well, it's not. This is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and that's my opinion.
At Local Myth Pizza, we believe in real food, freshly prepared with only premium ingredients. Our cheeses are imported from Italy. Our sauces, dressings, and even our sausages are made in-house fresh daily. Featuring Northwest craft beers and 30 Chelan Valley wines and ciders. Family fun and amazing food. Eat local, drink local, and be local at Local Myth Pizza.
Come see why Sunset Magazine says you can't beat Local Myth Pizza.
When you've been in business for 40 years, it's because you understand change and you put members first, always. Now Works is announcing a change in their membership model. Up to 6 people on one membership that you can mix and match. The more people, the bigger the discounts. Introducing the Works shared membership model. One membership, friends and family and flexibility. Works, the cleanest, friendliest, most helpful gyms you and your friends will ever join.
By the end of this week, you will have your primary election ballot in your hand, courtesy of the two gentlemen to my immediate left. To my immediate left is the Chelan County Auditor, the handsome and talented Skip Moore, and to his left, the even more handsome and quite frankly more talented Thad Duvall, his counterpart from Douglas County. It is primary election season, gentlemen. Time to change the sheets, and for the folks who live in Douglas and Chelan County, a lot of choices to be made in this a presidential election year. All of the state offices are up for grabs in this election cycle. The entire state legislature from the House of Representatives is up for grabs. The federal legislature, the Congress is up for grabs. A lot of decisions to be made for the voters. And I know both of you guys believe an informed voter is the way to go. Skip, I'll let you start. You ready for this week, buddy?
Yeah, we're ready. The ballots, folks should have them by Friday. Certainly, if you don't, contact either my office if you're in Chelan County or Thad's, if you don't have it by the end of the week, so we can get one coming. And voter pamphlets, our voter pamphlets have already gone out. I'm not sure where I don't get Thad's. He doesn't mail one to me. So those are out there as well. So it's that time.
Both of the websites for the Chelan and Douglas County auditors, they have links, direct links to not only the candidate statements, but candidate websites and Facebook pages and things like that, so you can get to know the candidates as well as you want to before you vote. And you have to vote by August 6th. And let's get this buggity-boo out of the way. You guys were very vocal about your opposition of the United States Postal Service moving a vast majority of the sorting operations away from North Central Washington and off to Spokane, for those folks who mail their ballots and don't use their drop boxes. I suppose that concern remains and evident today?
Well, it is. The process has just added more hands. It seems like more hands involved. It's just they're handling the ballot or the mail more times, moving it around the state, postmarks, moving it back. That just takes time. And in this process, vote by mail, if you're putting your ballot in the mail, it's a postmark. Everything is about the postmark. So getting it in early, better chance of getting that effective, on-time postmark. That's our main concern, because we just don't know how long it's going to take.
Well, Thad, maybe this is a better question for Thad, because you have a lot of smaller communities. You have about half the registered voters in Douglas County as you do in Chelan County. What's the breakdown of percentages of the people who mail their ballots? They'll have a postmark on it. It goes through the system and eventually ends up in Waterville, as opposed to those people who use the regional drop boxes all over Douglas County. What's the percentage breakdown there?
It's fairly evenly split. I think we're seeing more and more people using the drop boxes, though. And so we've noticed it probably takes an extra day or two with the added process for your ballot to come in. So we would like to see people, especially within the last week of the election, to use the drop boxes, because we don't want anybody, disenfranchised because they didn't get the right postmark. And both Skip and I, we send out teams, 2 people, each ballot box, in dual custody, and it's trackable all the way back to our office. And that's a sure way to get that ballot back in on time. So use the drop box if you're within the last week of the election. You agree with that, Skip?
I 100%. If you can get it into the drop box, your ballot has been accepted, because we lock those things precisely at 8 o'clock on election night. So if it's open and you get it in there, it's timely. If you place a ballot in your mailbox the day prior to election day or election day, it may not get the appropriate postmark, which case we won't be able to count it.
For many, many years, Thad's office had to deal with something that now Skip has to deal with, and that is multiple jurisdictions, both at the federal and state level, in Douglas County. You've been dealing with this for years, Thad. If anybody's an expert in this, it's you. Parsons of Douglas County would be in a school district that wasn't actually, they shared jurisdictions to the north. You always had Chelan County pretty much to yourself. Didn't have to worry about that.
It was a wonderful thing.
Now we look at least from the state perspective, we got the 12th district, we got the 7th district, we got the 13th district, we got the 8th district, and looking at the map of where one district ends and another begins has got to be a nightmare for you.
It makes no sense.
Talk about this. Talk about the issues that you're going to have to deal with, knowing that Wenatchee in and of itself is pretty much cut in half.
And that's just it. We did have the luxury up until just recently of being one county, one legislative, congressional, all those matched up. Well, there was a little bit this last redistricting. Somebody didn't like the formula. So at the last minute, we had a change, which was unique in that suddenly we had 3 precincts in Wenatchee go to the 7th, which seems to not make any sense. I know they're balancing populations, and when they move a line one place, it causes a line someplace else to move. So, and these concerns about how the redistricting was done, ultimately ended up we lost 3 precincts in city of Wenatchee along the river, have now moved across the river as far as their representation. It's just different.
Yeah, it is. Well, it causes us to work really closely with our GIS department. And in this case, as far as I'm aware, in Chelan and Douglas counties, the favor they did us is when they did the splits, they did it along precinct lines. So that means we're moving whole precincts in or out of one legislative district into another. So since those precincts were already established, that really helped us. But we work closely with our GIS departments to make sure that that information is accurate and we're sending the right ballot to the right person. That's the key. The right ballot style to the right person.
Perfect example is right behind us by about 10 feet is Yakima Street, right in the heart of downtown Wenatchee. On the north side of Yakima, you're in one legislative district. On the south side where we're sitting, you're in another legislative district. Right. That's just, there's kind of no real way to avoid that one way or the other. Eventually somebody across the street is not going to be the same district as you are if you look hard enough, right?
Oh, and well, you'll see the way various jurisdictions fall out is unique. You've got school districts, you've got hospital districts, you've got all these different districts. All their lines intersect. And we, as elections officials, we spend our time trying to find out if I put a rope around this little chunk of land, what districts are affected. And then I have to make sure that people in that area get the specific ballot, because obviously I can't be allowing somebody to vote on something in Douglas County in Chelan County and vice versa, as well as intra-county. All the lines make it at times very difficult to figure out, and Thad was right. The biggest joy in all this was when they changed the lines, it stayed at precinct lines. So I didn't have to redraw my maps, because had they gone across precinct lines, we would have had to redraw all a large portion of the ones in Wenatchee would have had to have been redrawn.
There's still, I believe the judge was down in Yakima Valley who redrew the precinct lines. And we're going to stuck with it for the primary and the general election in this year, 2024. But the legal challenge is still out there, right? That's being appealed.
There is an appeal.
Okay.
Yeah.
And historically, the courts have done pretty good about not jumping in the middle of the cycle. I'm hoping that stays the case. I don't know at this point, once we get these ballots in the mail, if they can really change them. So I think we're safe for a while, at least this cycle.
Yeah, through the election cycle this year. But then that appeal could go on, and next year we could have another change. We just don't know at this point.
So we had one district up until 2022, and then for one brief time we had another map, and now we have another map. So we're like our third map since 2020. It's cattywampus indeed. Thad, Douglas County Commissioner 2, the incumbent Kyle Steinberg, is not running for re-election. 5 people are running for that seat. Only those people who live in that district will find their name on their ballot. And you always get phone calls. Hey, how come I don't have this on my ballot? And you have to tell them, unless you live in District 2 and you're a registered voter, you're not voting.
Yes, that's correct. And that is a common misconception, because we've got a pretty good sign campaign going on in Douglas County. People can see the commissioners that have put up signs. And so they do expect to be able to vote. But yes, it's just Commissioner District 2 that will vote on those 5 candidates to bring those down to 2 to go on to the general election.
What is the thought process behind that in the primary, that you have to physically live in that district in order to vote in that district?
Well, that's just the way the commissioner districts have been set up from as long as I've been in office. And the idea is the person that represents you in your district you should be able to nominate them and to go to the general election. However, in the general, it does change, and the whole county votes on the top 2. So it's a nominating process coming out of the primary election to winnow it down to 2. And then after that, the whole county votes on the final 2 candidates in the general.
Skip, you have something similar to that in Chelan County District number 3. Tiffany Gehring not running for re-election, and so you have 4 people fighting for 2 seats, and again, only those people in District 3, which is basically the northern part of the county, will be voting in that.
We got 4, and just they will, and it comes back to, as Thad was saying, though they're a commissioner for the entire county, that district should have a it wouldn't, it's hard to explain to somebody living in Chelan why they would be having their commissioner come from Leavenworth, let's say. So this way, at least that geographic area is representative. The commissioner or the candidate has to live within the district. So that's what makes a big deal.
Even though only those people who live in those respective districts can vote in the primary, does it still drive up turnout, you think, a little bit? Does it help when you have that many people vying for 1 seat, or whittling it down to 2 anyway?
I don't know. That is a real good question. I've not run the numbers on that. Yeah. I do think the more people more offices that actually have races, we do better for turnout, as opposed to when we have a lot of races that are single filers. So
I think that the turnout is driven by how much activity is taking place. So if the 5 candidates in Douglas County are really diligent, they've got a good sign campaign, they do a mailer, they go door to door, the more attention they can bring to the race, normally they'll get more people to vote. So we'll see. It just depends on how they can work things up, I guess, to get the attention of the voters.
And I think you'll see the statewide races also make it help as well. Though we've got 28
for governor, 11 running for Maria Cantwell's Senate seat. There's a lot of choices to be made here.
So that, something would tell me, 28 different flavors for governor. There's a choice there that somebody can make. So they will, maybe that in itself will drive turnout. It'll be interesting to see.
How often, and I know we've talked about this a couple of times, we got to cut these guys loose because Thad's got to head on over to Olympia. He's got some business to take care of. How often does a Douglas County ballot you put in the drop box ends up in Skip's drop box ballot by mistake? Hey, I live in East Wenatchee, but I work in Wenatchee, and I got my ballot. I'll just throw it in the library drop box. Oh, crap.
It
happens all the time.
That's one of the things that I really like about Washington State, is we bend over backwards to make sure you can get a ballot in Washington State. So you can actually go into any courthouse in the state and have them print off your ballot. And all the counties are very cooperative. So yes, that does happen. And we just simply put those in the mail and send them to Skip the next day and get them to him right away. He does the same for us. We get ballots from other counties as well. They might be on vacation. Oh, I've got my ballot, and they'll hit Skip's box on the way up to Lake Chelan or something. And so we're mailing it to King County or wherever. But we make sure it gets to the right.
The 39 auditors in this state they're good. They're really good. Their staff is good. They are professionals at what they do. You're more than welcome to come by during the election season, stand on the other side of the plexiglass and watch them do the work that they do. This is your election. There's only 2 times in your entire life where the government asks for your opinion and it counts. One is jury duty and the other is elections, folks. It's as simple as that. We'll cut you loose with it. Go ahead, Thad.
One more thing.
Please.
Now, you mentioned earlier the voters' pamphlets that we're mailing out. That's a local voters' pamphlet that we have crafted, and we have the local issues in it. So it's important to know that in the pamphlet that we're mailing out, it just has the local issues. And if you want the state issues, you do need to go on the website and connect to that information.
One thing we should mention, of course, the Wenatchee Valley Fire Department wants to change the way that they are funded. This is, although it's a primary election, this is it. This decision will be made on August 6th. So, and everybody who lives within the jurisdictional boundaries of the Wenatchee Valley Fire Department will be voting on how they want to change the way that they are funded. That will be a final vote on August 6th. Skip, last time on a presidential year, 2020, in the primary, 60% turnout for Chelan, and you are predicting, I always have to do this to you.
Oh yeah, and I'm always the optimist. Yeah. We were 60 last time. With the political environment we live in today and how things are going, I wouldn't be surprised if we push it up around 70 this time, though.
Last time we had a presidential election year, gubernatorial, the whole 9 yards. Thad, Douglas County, 58% turnout on that primary of August of 2020. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm hoping we exceed that 60%. I don't know if we'll quite make it to 70. Skip's pretty optimistic. I hope we do, but I think we'll probably end up more around 60. We'll see.
Again, by the end of the week, you should have your ballot. If it's, say, Tuesday or Wednesday of next week and you still don't got it, call these guys.
Yeah.
They'll take care of you. They are the best at what they do. Skip Moore from Chelan County, Thad Duvall from Douglas County, your respective county auditors. I guess I'll see you on August 6th.
I'll be in the office.
All right. Thad, it's good to see you again, my friend.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Bring the whole family up to Stormy Mountain Brewing and local public house in historic downtown Chelan. Applewood smoked brisket, street-style tacos, and our award-winning barbecue rubs and sauces. Our meals pair perfectly with our exciting lineup of craft ales, made right here in Chelan. We've got room for big groups, or give us a call for catering. So grab the kids and check out the fun at Stormy Mountain Brewing and local public house located in the heart of Chelan.
Oh, look at this.
This would look really good in the kitchen.
Or the living room. Just look at it.
New windows are a work of art. Upgrade your home's windows and get cash back from Chelan County PUD.
This is gonna look great in the house.
Downtown Wenatchee, something for everyone. Find custom floral designs for any occasion at Mountain Chick Floral. Even more wonderful plants and gifts abound in every corner in their new location at 7A South Wenatchee Avenue.
The Original Children's Shop offers sweet summertime outfits for your newborn to 8-year-old. Stop in for all the essentials you need to have a fun summer. Swimsuits, sandals, towels, sand toys, and more. Shop online or in our store.
Downtown Wenatchee, it's all here.
Tour Moses Lake just a gas tank away. With its abundance of outdoor activities, Moses Lake is a great place to visit. From fishing and boating to exploring the city's attractions, there is no shortage of things to do. Whether you're enjoying any one of the variety of restaurants with the family or an adventure-filled day with friends, Moses Lake has something for everyone. TourMosesLake.com and start your adventure today.
All right, real quickly, let's take a quick look at the AQI map before we get to the graphics. Right now, the air quality in Chelan is at 120. That is unhealthy for sensitive groups. In Twisp, it's 78. The smoke from the fire has gone over the ridge into the Methow Valley. That's why it's at 78. Omak's at 75. You got some dirty air to the north of us. Not too bad down here in the Wenatchee Valley, although we do have an air quality alert that was issued from the National Weather Service. We also have a heat advisory, because the hits just keep on coming. It's going to be hot. Take a look-see once again at where you plan on being. We're looking at record high temperatures, folks, on Saturday and Sunday. It's a distinct possibility. As we get closer to the weekend, we'll touch on record high temperatures. Again, a heat advisory is underway. It's going to last all the way through Thursday of this week. It may be extended into the weekend. This is about as long a stretch of just hot weather that I can remember, and I was born and raised here, and also a fire weather watch is up and running. So you got everything. You got an air quality alert, you got a heat advisory. There's your fire weather watch map if you live in the yellow area. Anything that gets going could take off. We don't want that. It's just bone dry, and a relative humidity in the afternoon hours gets down into the teens. So dry air and hot temperatures are a bad mix for wildfires. Real quickly for the National Weather Service, a bit hazy, a couple of clouds, and that's about it. At 103, our forecast high. We hit 98 yesterday. A few clouds tonight, 73 for the overnight low. Slight chance of a dry thunderstorm during the heat of the day on Wednesday. We'll know more about this tomorrow. Tune in with Grant tonight at the news. At 5 o'clock, you'll have more on that. We don't want a dry thunderstorm. That's the worst case scenario. And just plain hot for the foreseeable future. And that's it for us. Have a good and safe Tuesday. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.